Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hi Podcast. I'm Dad. On the ones and twos, I got your boy Joey Two Bananas over here, and then over there we have.
This is Don Francisco El Tanquisto, also known as the little tank that could, would, and definitely should.
I'm still confused. Don Francisco El Tanquisto? That's not even proper Spanish. I don't even know anymore. Anyways, we are two guys talking about dad stuff, life stuff, and giving you our point of view from just being friends of 20 plus years now. And I think we do a pretty good job, maybe.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I'm surprised you're not coming out trying to apologize for how shitty of a job we've done in the past.
Well, if you're going to give me the opportunity to call myself Apologeus, the Heracles of apologies, I'm going to do it right off the bat so we can get it out the way.
No, definitely not.
I mean, if you're giving me the opportunity, I'm going to take it, right? If you're putting that expectation out there on me, I'm going to take it.
I guess I would expect you to do that. Stop, it's too early for me to not be able to talk.
Do you know how much of your laughing I got to edit out every podcast episode? I recognize your waveform, bro. I'm like, there's a Frankie laugh. There's a Frankie laugh. There's a Mr. Tanky laugh.
Yeah, you got to say the whole thing, all right? It's a pimp named Slickback. Not Slickback. You got to say the whole thing.
What?
I am Frankie the Tanky, okay? I would expect you to understand the difference, sir.
You and your expectations of me.
Yeah.
But no, I did kind of want to talk about expectations, right? And I think we started to get into a little bit last time about expectations that we had of being fathers based on like media depictions.
Yeah.
And it got my creative dad juices flowing, right? Thinking about expectations.
Creative dad juices.
You know, after I say that, I realize that could be a horrible euphemism for something else.
I told you already, man. The 5Gs already killed the fuckers off.
It wasn't the 5Gs. It was the doctor going snip, snip on you that killed that creative dad juice off.
But yeah. Yeah, I feel you, man. It really kind of makes you think.
All right, so check it, right? I've been working out a lot recently, and now my girls want to help work out too. And like when I'm doing pull-ups, because I got the pull-up bar set up on the door, they're like, Daddy, pick me up. I do pull-ups too. So I do it with Lola, and then Chi-Chi does it. And Chi-Chi's like a year and 6 months.
Yeah.
And homegirl got upper body strength.
Really?
I put her on there. I connect her hands to it, and then she'll just start pulling. And I'm just barely pushing her butt up, but neither here nor there, right?
You know, I mean, so, it makes sense. That's when they start crawling out of their crib, right?
Yeah. But so now I've been working out a lot lately, and the girls are starting to work out with me too. And like, I'm like, that's cool. But then it kind of makes me feel kind of weird because I go back and I realize like my dad years ago he ended up getting a tattoo when I was first born of a little boxer dude on his leg, like a little boxing kid with like untied shoelaces and like boxing gloves. And it says my name under it. I always felt like I needed to live up to that little boxer dude, and I never did, right?
Right.
Never did. So recently we were going through a bunch of my old stuff in the garage, and I found my old boxing gloves he gave me when I was like 4 years old.
Get out of here.
Lola loves them, puts them on. She's like, Daddy, I punch. And so I'm like, yeah, baby, you do 1, 2, like this, right? This. Mm-hmm. And like, I see it, I'm like, I had this expectation for me to be that way, and I was never that way. But now my daughters are being that way, and I'm not even that way. Like, it just messes with my heads, and I'm like, am I passing on expectations that were passed on to me, like involuntarily, like passing them through, or is this just how life turned out?
You know, it's kind of funny though, because your dad specifically is one of those extra macho type guys.
Yeah. Yes.
Like you know, when he figures out when he realized he was having a son first, it was like. He was all over the place, like, yeah, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that, and he's gonna blah 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 blah. Like,
mind you, this is the same father of mine that, like, when I was like in middle school, he's like, yo, when I was your age, I had all the girls, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, I'm a skinny little kid who likes reading Chronicles of Narnia. What do you want from me? I'm playing Pokemon at the bus stop.
To your credit, though, and I will speak from 20 years ago. perspective, right? When we were kids in high school and I met you, you did kind of have a little bit of a tough guy outer layer. You really did. Like, you were small. You were a skinny guy. I'm not saying that you were this big dude, right?
No.
But the face, the exterior, the clothes, they all screamed, hey, don't mess with me.
And then you found out I was as soft as a Pillsbury Doughboy.
I mean, but we're all kind of like that, right?
No, I think that was kind of that expectation I had of my dad, right? Like, he was always like, yo, walk with your back straight, walk with your shoulders back, keep your neck up. You know, like nobody's ever gonna hit you as hard as I hit you. So I don't want to see you like talking about being afraid of fight or something like that, right? Like, so I always had that, like, I had to be machismo, I had to be tough.
Oh, dude.
You know, I was like 115 pounds going into high school, you know?
Yeah.
But I always had to carry myself like, yo, I'm tough. To the point where, remember the time I almost got my ass kicked because I don't know what was on I was coming out of class.
Hold on. I want you to tell this story, but like, you almost got your ass kicked a lot. You're gonna have to be a little specific because could be one of many times. So go ahead.
All right. So we were coming out of simulation class and it was you, me, and Exodus. That's what we calling him, Exodus.
All right. I'll call him Exodus.
And I don't know what bug was up my ass that day, but I was in a shitty mood. And I walked out and some dude shoulder checked me in the hallway. Probably didn't even mean to.
Probably did.
But
in our school?
Yeah,
probably did.
But I think he was on the football team or something like that. But he ended up shoulder checking me and I just turned around. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, bowed up on him. And I remember he turned around like ready to fight. He was like, yo, looked at me. He was like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, let's go. I dropped my bag. And then I just see him be like, all right. And then he walks away. And I was like, oh shit, I'm tough. Yeah, let's go. Turn around.
Yeah.
You and fucking Exodus are standing behind me ready to roll out. It's like I yelled Autobots roll out. Y'all were like toughed up. Like, yo, let's go.
I remember I slapped him. I slapped the Exodus on the shoulder and I was like, look at this dumb motherfucker over here. Look at two bananas over here starting some shit. But we wanted to give you your space, right? We were like a good maybe 6 feet behind you. And I remember pointing it to his attention and being like, yo, something's wrong with this guy. But we need to help out our homie. So we crossed our arms and I remember we did the peacock thing, what do you do when a bear tries to attack you sort of thing? You make yourself as big as possible. Is that one of those things?
I thought you were supposed to play dead.
I don't know. I'm so scared of getting attacked by a bear because I'm getting conflicting information.
But yeah, and so like you're a big dude and Exodus was a big dude.
Yeah.
And I was not a big dude. So I was like, yo, ain't no way I just scared off homeboy. That's why I turned around.
I mean, no, maybe not. But there's a lot more pussies out there than we give them credit for.
True.
Yeah.
True. If anything, I'll say he probably doubted himself when he saw a 115-pound kid ready to square up and then saw you and Exodus behind me.
Oh man, I'm so glad you mentioned that because I have a pretty good story that kind of relates to that in the frame of expectations too.
Go for it.
So I've always been big. We've said this a bunch of times, right? This is one of the times that I got into a fight trying to defend my sisters because they were being harassed by this kid in school. One of the sisters in New York. This kid that was bothering them, short stack.
Hold up. Short stack can mean a few things. Because
Like
I've
what?
recently learned that short stack means a very short girl with big breasts and big ass.
Really?
Yes. There's like a whole genre out there on the internet called short stack.
You know what that means? You gotta lay off the porn, brother.
Who the fuck are you, Randy Macho Man Savage? No, Hulk Hogan.
To be brother. You gotta lay off the porn if you know what short stack means.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
That's so specific. I don't know. I went to IHOP this morning. Short stack just came out.
I'm sorry, bro. I threw you way off.
No, that's fine. That's really funny.
Get back to the story, brother.
That's really funny. So anyway, this guy was really short in comparison to me.
Okay.
My sisters asked me, if I could come threaten the guy. So they're in the same age group as us. One's a little bit older, one's a little bit younger than us. And
Okay.
they're being harassed by this kid. I show up. I'm like, listen, Frank the Tank, just go and...
It's a pimp named Slickback. Say it together.
I said Frank the Tank. He said, please, just intimidate this guy. Get him to leave us alone. Please. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that.
I'm a big boy.
I'm a big boy. I can do it. I can definitely do it.
What age were you when this happened, by the way?
I was probably like 13.
Okay.
Maybe 12. Somewhere in that range. So I get over there. I see the kid. Real short. Probably up to my chest, you know? Everybody grows differently at that time. And I get up there and I'm like, okay, be the guy that they expect you to be. Protect your sisters. Walk up to the kid. Hey, leave my sisters off. You need to cut that shit out right now. Without saying a word, the motherfucker lays me out.
K.O.
I was not expecting the story to go there. What the fuck?
Bro, when I tell you,
Wait, this was up in New York, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Oh, of course. In New York, those skinny dudes, they throw hands.
Skinny, small guy just dropped down, sprung up like a fucking frog, and decked me on the side of the face. And I fell like a ton of bricks.
Glass-jawed you.
Bro, so embarrassing.
Your sister was probably like, yo.
They had to walk my ass back home because I was still seeing stars. I had the fucking cartoon.
He was probably like, you know what? I ain't even gonna bother y'all anymore just because your brother's such a pussy.
You know, and the shitty thing about that is that's exactly what happened. He did stop. He did stop bothering them.
He felt bad for your ass
because he felt bad for me because he laid me out so bad.
Damn.
But you gotta second guess yourself with those little guys.
Yeah.
You never know because that hurt, bro. Not only did the punch from him hurt a lot more than I expected it to, but hitting the fucking concrete just flat out.
Dude, you were 13 years old. You've watched enough anime at that point to know, beware of the skinny guy.
No,
but
man.
yeah, that ties into the expectation thing, right? You didn't expect him to hit you like that.
I thought he would just back off.
Yeah.
And you know, there were plenty of times here in where we live, where we grew up, where my bigness was enough to just pull people away, to stop them.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of confrontations that just ended right then and there because I decided not to be a puss and stick up for myself or stick up for my friends around me. But it didn't work at that time.
No, that's because New York, they're built different, bro.
Well, I mean, every time I got my ass kicked, it was over there. That is true.
So that's part of why I had that expectation to be a tough guy, right? My entire family comes from New York.
Yeah.
So they're all tough. And even my cousins are from up north. And you've met them. These guys come up, they're like, yo, what you say to me? I'm going to snuff you in the face. What? Come on. It's like, yo.
I will say overly and unnecessarily aggressive.
Aggressive as hell. You'd be like, yo, I like your hairstyle. Yo, what you trying to say? I'm soft? Come at me. What? Let's go. It's like, hold up.
Like, relax.
I just wanted to ask who your barber was, dude.
Relax. Yeah, no, I mean, my family's from New York too. And they're like that, right? So real chill. You've met my cousins, you know, you know what I'm talking about. Real chill guys, right? But if something happens, then everybody's ready to beat somebody up. And it's like
you flip that switch and it's like, let's go.
And
it's on.
You don't even have all the information. It's just somebody's ready to go, so everybody has to be ready to go.
Yeah.
I get it. It makes sense.
You grow up with that expectation that you got to be that way. But mind you, we didn't grow up in New York.
We didn't grow up with them. Right.
We grew up in a more laid back society.
No matter what, that guy that laid me out, I don't know what he did with his life. I don't know who he is. Right. He could be the bantamweight champion of the world for all I know. I don't know. I'd like to believe he is.
Turns out it was De La Hoya.
I know, right? It's like Oscar De La Hoya beat my ass when I was 12 and I didn't even know.
He's like, taste these golden gloves.
Yeah. But you do have that like expectation, like, oh, if I live in New York, I gotta be tough. Oh, if I live here, then you could be allowed to be softer, right? Whatever. Yeah. But it's it's not really necessary because everybody's different, you know? We all got like our own shit going on.
But we still have those expectations on us. And so at
You
least
have
for
to
me,
play
it
into it.
messes with me, right? Like
Mhm.
that I was expected to be a certain way. Like you said, I looked tough, but I wasn't tough. I was terrified. I was wetting myself when I turned around and told boy, like, yo, what's up? Like, ready to square up. I was terrified, bro, because I was like, yo, dude got like 100 pounds on me.
Oh yeah, no, I
He
mean,
gonna squash me.
you got to be a crazy person to go after somebody that's that much bigger than you. Just realistically.
But you know, bro, I carried that chip on my shoulder that I need to be the tough guy because there's expectations on me from my father and from my family to be tough all the way up through college. And in college, I went wild, bro. A dude who never touched alcohol, touching alcohol in college and being on antidepressants. Dude, there was one night we walked past the fraternity house that was known for just having nothing but bodybuilders. And like, you know how people are drunk and yell something out the window? Like, I'm walking past with my boys and like they yelled something. I don't know. They were probably like, hey, let's like, you know, party. And I was like, yo, you motherfuckers want to go? Let's fucking go. Let's go. Fuck you. Fuck you. Let's fight. And I just see like 6 big dudes come to the window like, yo, the fuck you saying? And my boys grab me. They slap their hands over my mouth, pick up my legs, and start dragging me back to our house. They were like, he didn't say shit. He didn't say shit. I'm like trying to move their hand, and you hear me every now and then be like, yo, fuck you, fuck you.
You always punched above your weight class though. And that's pretty admirable because I can't say that I would have the heart to do the same.
That wasn't heart, bro. That was Captain Morgan. But no, so that was that expectation, right? That like I always thought I had to be this tough badass because I was trying to live up to my father's expectations of me.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just like, why?
But you know,
What did that get me?
I feel like when in the times that we've both hung out with your dad, like it's still there. Like he's still like, hey, let me show you how many dips I can do. How many dips can you do?
Dude.
Yeah.
And my dad's gonna he's gonna hate
go
listening
crazy.
to this podcast. But so the other day I came to his house and like I said, like how I started, I've been working out lately.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, Joey, 2 bananas. You're looking good. What you been doing? You looking good. You're like, your chest looking big. I was like, oh, I've been doing push-ups. He's like, oh, you been doing push-ups? I was like, yeah, I've been doing push-ups, pull-ups, stuff like that at home. He was like, oh, how many you doing? I was like, I don't know, like this many. And he was like, I could do them too. I could do them in a minute. You want to do it? I was like, no, we don't need to do a push-up. He's like, no, come on. What, you scared? Let's do a push-up contest. I was like, dude, you're like almost 60. I'm not going to do a freaking push-up contest with you. He's like, oh, you scared? You scared? I was like, no, I'm not scared. He's like, let's take a shot.
He'd probably beat us both.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, your dad is in shape. Like,
No.
legit,
Yeah.
your dad's in some good shape. Both of my dads are kind of in that old man status.
But they're older than my dad.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually, no. My stepdad should be probably close to your dad's age. Yeah, if you're saying he's coming up on 60, my stepdad's coming up on 60 too. Yeah, but his health isn't good. Like your dad, you could tell he takes care of himself.
I don't know about that. My dad follows the same Puerto Rican health advice that I do, in that you are healthy as long as you don't go to the doctor for him to tell you you're not healthy.
Yeah, but your Puerto Rican health advice also means that you're out there lifting cinder blocks in the backyard to keep yourself in shape, right? So like,
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So at least he's keeping his muscles up. His arteries might be clogged. He might have to stop yoking people and eat more egg whites.
Dude, you know, it took me till I was editing to understand why you said egg whites. I was like, oh, wait, he thought I said yolk, Y-O-L-K.
Yeah.
I said Y-O-K-E, like a yoke that you put on an oxen.
It's a play on words.
No, you just thought I actually said yoke.
I don't know what okay, so yoke, Y-O-K-E, is an actual word.
Yes, it's the wooden apparatus that you would put on a beast of burden for them to like pull your plow.
That's quite monarchy.
Fuck you. I expect better of you.
See, my expectations of you are always that you're gonna know more the literature stuff and the history of stuff, because that's the shit you're into.
I'm the guy who knows what a short stack is.
That's porn, though. I also expect that of you.
But so I realized as I'm editing, I'm like, he doesn't understand what yolk is. He thought I said yolk like an egg yolk. And I was like, it's yolk. And then that's when I never put two and two together because I always knew yolk meant to like choke somebody, but I never understood yolk was like, oh, choking somebody because an actual yolk goes around the neck. Oh, it's not just a stupid northern tough guy thing. It actually has an etymology.
An etymology. That's because more than 50% of your family members have face and neck tattoos. That's why you didn't understand it at first. It was just normal for you.
You know what? I should just get a neck tattoo so you can shut up.
It's acceptable,
they expect me to have neck tattoos.
It's okay now. You can totally get it. It's 2023, baby. You could be a professional with a neck tattoo. A dragon on your face, bro. It'll work.
You said dragon because I'm married to an Asian woman. You racist.
No, I was. Okay, you could get one of the Easter dragons on your face. Why not?
Goddamn racist.
Nah, man. Back when I worked at Papa John's, I worked with this chick that had one of those European dragon tattooed on her face, on like the left side of her face.
To bring us back, right? We've been all over the place tonight. To bring us back to the expectation thing, you actually triggered something in my head just now. When you were talking about Papa John's, because you used to work at Papa John's, right?
Oh yeah, I was there for a long time.
And talking about expectations, essentially like how the expectations our parents had on us affected how we grew up and stuff like that. But you have a really interesting story of watching something happen while you worked at Papa John's, which I bet you was not to their parents' expectations.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
I mean, if you want to go into it in like an abbreviated version.
No, I mean it's a pretty meaty, chunky story. So yeah. I had been working at Papa John's through high school, through college. I was there for a long time. So in that time, there was a kid, could not have been more than 17, probably the legal age where you could actually abandon somebody. This kid was thrown into the streets by his parents. He got into trouble, rushed into the Papa John's one day. And I was a shift leader for like years upon years. And he comes in, he's like all exasperated with a backpack. Hey man, can I use your phone? Can I use your phone? I'm like, you always got to be wary. We had a really bad like homeless people situation where I worked. I mean, there was a meth community right behind the store. There was woods back there and they had a whole tent city almost back there. Well, anyway, this kid apparently had drug issues, had been caught. This was probably like at the height of the, what is that issue?
The
opioid epidemic.
Opioid. Well, technically we're at the height of that now. You're talking about height of the pill mill epidemic, where people were writing like prescriptions for like Percocets and stuff like that.
Yeah. That time. Yeah. So he was deep into drugs. Apparently had been caught by his parents ODing in his room, just tripping balls. His father, and this is all stuff that he willingly told me, just, my dad, he kicked me out. He was so mad, but they're going to come pick me up later. I just need to call him, let him know where I'm at. All right, man. Use the phone. Go for it. I'm not a monster. Call your dad. Let him know where you're at. They're going to pick you up. And, I let him sit in the store, gave him a little bit to eat, and just talk to him. Like, and he was a kid, man. I mean, I wasn't that much older either, but I saw this guy. You're
looking back at it through the lenses of an adult. So
yeah. And I could definitely say, like, this guy was not fully grown. It was just not like throwing a 35-year-old on their ass and kicking them out. So
somebody who needed support still.
Yeah. Whole day goes by. I close up the shop, 2 a.m. The guy's still there. I don't know what to tell him. I'm like, listen, man, I can't have you in the store anymore. I got to close up. Oh, my dad's coming to pick me up. I'll be fine. I'm just going to hang out here by the bus stop. When I tell you that guy stayed there for the next several years, became ingratiated in the community, the tent city in the back, fell deeper into drugs. I watched this guy mature from a fledgling just got kicked out.
Yeah.
His parents wanted more, and his parents seemed like they were well upstanding people.
Did you ever see his parents come by or anything? Or
I think I saw his mom once. They were looking for him, and this was years later. He had already become fully ingratiated in the lifestyle. I saw this kid who's a little bit younger than me age drastically. Like, you could have sworn this guy became president of the United States or something.
With how quickly he aged.
Yeah. He went from looking like he was in his 50s, missing teeth, scars all over his face.
Sheesh.
I had to call the police because of altercations he had gone into over the years.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. And the crappy part is like, it could have all been avoided. His parents could have let go of what they expected of him. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know that your kid has a problem. There are healthier ways of dealing with it than just abandoning him on the corner.
That's crazy, bro.
And you know, the worst part about it is I saw the day he died. I was there.
Damn.
He busts into the store. This is like, I mean, I worked there for, goddamn, almost like.
You worked there a long time.
I was there for like 9 years, 8 years. That was a steady paycheck for me.
That's the longest you've ever been at a job.
I'm a millennial. What can I say?
To add some levity to the story.
Yeah. So, there was one night he busts into the store real disheveled. I knew the guy. I had forgotten his name. I didn't know his name. You know, we just talked very normally.
You've never mentioned that part to me in the story before, to cut in on you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that bother you?
No.
Now, knowing that you didn't know his name and you watched that happen?
No, it really doesn't.
Damn.
I know, it's so weird. It's really weird because I should.
It gets separated in your brain, though, because of the situation.
Yeah.
I can see it, yeah.
I guess I had to, because, like, I'm sitting here, like, if I took on responsibility of helping this guy out, which I could have done, because I was there the first day he got dropped off.
But
I could have helped them.
Yeah.
But I was struggling myself.
Dude, when you were working at Papa John's, you were on your own doing your own thing. So like you didn't have the air to breathe really to kind of help somebody else out.
I was making minimum wage that whole time. Minimum wage changed.
And minimum wage was a lot less back then.
I mean, when I first started, I was making like $4 something.
No.
Like $5.
No, it wasn't that low.
It was 5 something.
It wasn't.
Okay, you know what? I'll tell you what it was right now. Hold on. Let me search the memory banks. $5.25 is what I was making. Yes.
No. You know why?
Why?
Because I was making minimum wage at Taco Bell back when we were in high school, and that was $6.15.
There's no way.
Yes.
There's no way.
Yes, unless Papa John's was ripping you off for years.
Papa John's might have been ripping me off for years, bro. Because I was making 5 something. It could have been $5.75.
Because I remember I got a 3 months in, I was supposed to get a raise, and they gave me a 10-cent raise because they raised minimum wage from $6.15 to $6.25. And I was like, yo, that's not a raise. You were legally required to do that. You assholes.
I got $6.15 when I got 6 something when I came back after like quitting for a week. I was like, listen, you guys.
So they were screwing you, bro.
Were definitely screwing me.
All right, sorry, I totally derailed the story.
So yeah, the guy on his last day
bust into the store. You said
bust into the store. This guy looking like shit, welts all over his body, clearly doing meth, right? Clearly. And he just looks at me dead in the face and goes, something's wrong, man. Something's really wrong. And I tell him, like, sit down on the bench. Did you take something? Are you on something? And he's like, yeah, I took something. I took something bad. I don't know. Something's really wrong. Call me an ambulance. I say, listen, that's fine. I'll call you an ambulance. But you got to sit on the steps outside. You can't be in here.
Damn.
You can't be in here tripping balls in the bench.
I mean, you were right to say that, but
it's true. Yeah. Because, I mean, what happened if he died there? Like, that would have been rough. Either way, call 911, which was pretty normal for that area. It was a pretty rough area. And I was like, listen, there's a guy here. He's pretty messed up. I need you to take him to the hospital. I don't know what's wrong with him. They asked me his name. I don't know his name. I don't know anything about him. But he's a regular here. I know his face.
Yeah.
I know him. But I don't know anything about him. Damn. Pick him up. And I don't know what it was, right? We closed up shop. It was around 2 a.m. And I asked one of my homies, one of the closing drivers, you remember, the guy, the older Puerto Rican dude.
Oh, yeah.
With the Easy Marcelo story.
Yeah.
Which is something we should get into one day. But anyway, yeah. I go, hey man, this guy probably is ODing. you think you could go check on him real quick at the hospital nearby? I was like, listen, you got a delivery that's going near there. Why don't you check and see if he's doing all right? And it was difficult for him because we didn't know him like that. We didn't know his name.
Yeah.
We never wanted to get that close. And he calls me after tracking him down. Like, yeah, they're saying he didn't make it, that he passed away in the ambulance.
Damn.
And it's like, holy shit, dude.
That's rough, bro, because you saw from the beginning to the end.
Yeah. It wasn't just that whole journey, right? Seeing it, right? Because just year over year, you'd see him get worse, more acclimated, right? He was so scared in the beginning, and he was so sure that his parents would come and pick him up and save him and rescue him from that lifestyle.
And by the end,
he was just fully ingratiated. He knew what he was getting into. There was one time he got stabbed right in the parking lot, fighting with somebody else over something dumb. I don't know.
Sheesh.
It was one of the other times that I had to call the ambulance.
don't laugh about it.
R.I.P. Let's pour one out for the homie. but
you know what's messed up about that, bro? Like, to cut in on your story, like, that all came about because of a parent's expectation, and their refusal. And we don't know the parents, we don't know what's going on, but they expected him not to be the kind of person to do a drug. It sounds like, to do drugs, to get into that lifestyle, and he got into it, and then they said, we're done.
He was killed by his father's expectation.
Yeah,
because over time he did let it spill that it was really his dad.
Really?
That was the one that couldn't deal with it anymore. His mother was the enabler. She was the one that wanted to let him be and take care of him. And yeah, he was spoiled. Yeah, he was all these things. And yeah, all that stuff did apply. And yes, he was on the wrong side of things. But did he deserve to die over that shit?
Nobody deserves to die like a dog in a ditch.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Like,
it's true.
Nobody who's not like a horrible person, like killing people or something like that, deserves to die like that.
It's true. And he really didn't deserve it. I mean, man, this guy's, the fear in his eyes just from those first couple of times.
Dude, how are you such a jolly person? Because that would haunt me.
We get those kind of hobbies.
I would wake up in the middle of the night and be like, no.
Well, I disassociated myself from it, and I had to.
Yeah.
Because in reality, I could have done something. I could have helped out.
It wasn't your place.
Yeah, it really wasn't. Like, all I could really do was feed the guy and let him use the phone and give him some shelter.
I think you did more. And getting off topic, I think you did more than a lot of people would have. You put yourself at jeopardy technically by giving him free food and letting him hang out in the spot every now and then. Like, your bosses could have came back and be like, what are you doing?
Maybe.
So,
yeah, I mean, they did.
I think you did what you could.
Yeah, well,
but
I like to tell myself that too.
But I mean, this was a parent's expectation that they refused to let go of.
Yeah.
And it negatively affected their child to ultimately the final destination, right? That's horrible.
They drew a hard line in the sand. And I get it, because sometimes you want to do that, right? Sometimes as a dad, and I do it too, it's like, listen, if you do this, this is the consequence.
But I think, and I do the same thing. I did it to my daughter tonight. She didn't want to get off the toilet because she thought the longer she stays on the toilet, she doesn't have to go to bed. And I'm like, look, you have to like count to 3. And if I get to 3 and you're not off, you're not going to like what's happened. When I said 2, I felt so bad. Her eyes went wide like a deer caught in headlights, and her lips started trembling, and I could see the fear in her eye. I was like, I've never even hit you. I usually just yell at you when I get to 3. But like,
sometimes a yell is enough.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. But like, my expectation is for her to listen, but they don't always do that. I got to let that go. Like, after I saw that, I let my expectation of her listening on 3 go. And I was like, I looked at her and I stopped. I paused for a second. I was like, why don't you want to get off the toilet?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me. Like, I had to drop my expectation of, when I get to 3, you're getting up, because I saw the damage that did in that moment. That fear,
right,
beyond like a normal fear. Like, she literally looked like she saw something that was like she saw a ghost.
Well, it's like they really have a hard time dealing with the fact of letting you down. You kids do.
Yeah.
And we did that when we were kids. I mean,
and I think that's something we got to remember, because it's been so long for us, and since
we were kids,
we have more of an adult view of it now. I mean, that's what we're talking about now, the adult view of not living up to expectations, right? But our kids are living it at a reduced mental capacity compared to an adult, right? So seeing that she was in fear because she wasn't living up to that expectation of when I say 3, go, I had to stop myself and be like, it's not worth it for me to hold this I'm counting to 3 thing right now, right? And that person's parents could have done the same thing, but like, is it worth it for me to hold this? I expect you to be this way. If my child's life is literally spinning out of control in the way I would have expected it to when they did drugs.
Right.
So the same thing's happening. Like,
yeah,
drop the expectation and do what you, I don't know.
There's a point where you can sit there and swallow your pride, and you can definitely weigh the option. Do I want my kid around? Because it may not always result in that final endpoint of death. There's chances, or there's times where your kid just doesn't want to deal with you anymore, right? There's plenty of times, and wifey's kind of put me on this thing, right, where she's talked about, you know, oh, I've been on different boards or stuff, or I've seen on Instagram or on TikTok or whatever about people talking about their toxic parents and being able to cut them off and not deal with them and all that razzmatazz and all that stuff. And she talks about it in her kind of context, right?
Yeah.
Dealing with some of her relationship issues with her parents and kind of bringing it back to our relationship with our kids. And it's true, because you could just lose your kid as you get older, right?
Yeah.
If you hold all these expectations and you draw the hard lines in the sand.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
I saw a Facebook reel the other day that hit me hard. Hard, shook me, because they said, it was like this woman talking. She was like, man, imagine being a parent whose child refuses to come to your birthday, refuses to come for holidays, doesn't call you, doesn't check on you, doesn't let you know when they're sick, doesn't care when you're sick, wants nothing to do with you, would rather just never speak to you again, whether you're sick, you're dying, whatever, and you never see your child again, all because you couldn't get over your own issues and your own expectations and your own this, that, or another.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they were like, imagine that wouldn't be me. And I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah. That's
because
a big thing.
I've heard the conversations some parents have where it's like, oh, well, my kid doesn't want to talk to me anymore. They're just a spoiled brat, or they're like, I can see it, right? It's easy as a parent to be like, well, it's the kid. They've been infected with this idea, this ideology or another, or they don't want to listen, or they're being told that they don't love me, when it's in reality, it's like, you're the parent. No matter how old your child is, you were the ones who put expectations on them. You were the ones who trained them this way or another. So if they're rejecting you that way, it's you.
Yeah.
You're the one you're the bigger one, and you will always be the bigger one.
We're the bigger one. We're the more developed one. We know more of what's going on. And
it's easier for you to be like, let me bury the hatchet.
Yeah.
And if you're like, well, my child won't talk to me, so I can't bury the hatchet. You let it get to that point. You were the one who had an expectation, held your child to it, and now can't come back from it.
Yeah. And you know, I
that
think
hit me, bro.
And these kids are kind of more in tune with themselves now than we ever were. And definitely going back generations, our parents ever were. They're just more in tune with themselves, their feelings and all that stuff. So if it comes to the point where they decide, my parent is the most toxic part of my life, they will cut us off.
Yeah.
They will just, no, I don't feel like dealing with my parents.
And we'll sit there hurt and be like, how can you do that?
This is your fault. Why are you doing this to me?
Yep.
I did everything for you.
When in reality, we probably had every opportunity and passed it by every step of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're the adult. So the day we die, we're always going to be the adult to them. We have more experience. We have more knowledge. We have more life. We have more seasoning, right?
Yeah, seasoning.
So
is that what you're going to call it? Seasoning?
You know where I got that from? I got that.
Sorry.
So the wife loves to watch Masked Singer. And whenever they got an obviously older singer, they're like, there's some seasoning on that voice. It sounds seasoned. And I was like, yo, you're just trying not to call these people old.
Whenever I'm going to have issues performing in bed due to old age, I was like, listen, man, that was just too spicy. It had too much seasoning.
Baby, I'm sorry. I had too much paprika. Let's try again in 10 minutes.
Baby, I'm sorry. I couldn't get enough. It's just too much seasoning.
I used too much Old Bay. I'll try adobo next time.
That's why it's still a shrimp.
I'm done with you. You've derailed this.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. Seasoning is awesome.
But yeah, like, you're the adult, right? You've had these expectations of your child and you expected them to live up to it and you didn't let them go. And now you're facing the consequences.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. And like, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, like, that's why I'm starting to doubt myself, because we're part of that generation. We're, as millennials, we're the part of that generation that's questioning and the toxicity of our parents. And my father had that idea, and that's why you're like, oh, you came off as a tough guy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a tough guy. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Right? Yeah, like if anybody hasn't picked up on it yet, like, I'm the more like self-doubting, sensitive one of the two of us, right? Like, I was the one who liked reading and poetry and this and that and all that crap.
Oh no, I self-doubt a lot. I just don't show it.
You just don't vocalize it. We all think you're the most confident man ever.
It's a ruse.
It's a ruse for all you ruse.
But yeah, continue,
yeah, so
I'm
like,
sorry.
I had all these expectations on me to be this big, strong, tough guy, come out the box swinging like the world is mine, take it. And I wasn't that guy. And it took me a long time to get over that. And I don't think I ever really 100% got over it, because now I have my daughters and now I'm questioning whether those expectations I didn't live up to is what I'm passing on to them. And I'm working out just because I want to be healthier and I want to be there for my daughters. And I want to be, you know, that whole thing, like, one day you put your kids down and you know, no, that's the last time you're ever going to pick them down. So I was like, no, I'm going to start working out so that I never have to put my kids down and never pick them up again. I'm going to pick them up at their wedding day and be like, look, I can still pick you up.
I don't know, Lola's a big girl. And your wife's brother is like a wall.
Yeah. Lola might end up being like a 6'3" woman. Chi-Chi's going to be... Chi-Chi's a tiny little thing. And we were joking about it today. We were like, oh, well, she doesn't fit these diapers. Do we order more? I was like, she's going to fit those diapers till she's like 15. That girl tiny. But so, I always want to carry them. So that's why I'm working out. But now that I'm working out for that reason, to be strong enough to always be able to hold my daughters, part of my mind is always down to me. But like, are you just trying to live up to your father's expectations? Are you trying to be that little boxer boy? Mm-hmm. And now your daughters are reflecting it. And now they're going to go down the road of working out and all that because of your expectations that you didn't live up to. And it messes with me, man.
Yeah, I can see that, because it's important to live up to that, especially when you personally have always stuck to a plan. You've always decided to do something and you really do follow through. You're that kind of guy.
Appreciate that you notice that.
Yeah, no, and it's impressive because you really do try your hardest and you really push for the things you want to get done. So having that ghost behind you is a little unhealthy, right? Just throwing that out there, because you don't have to be that type of tough guy, because you're your own
hour.
You're your own type of tough guy, though. You've always been an intellectual, right? I wouldn't even call you a lover, not a fighter. Yeah, you know, like you've been saying that.
I'm not LL Cool J.
No, you've been saying that for years. But the guy's so big. How can he not be a fighter? He went from being skinny, a freaking skinny little beanstalk, to like the buff.
Because ladies love Cool J. LL Cool J.
Either way. I wouldn't even say that you're a lover, not a fighter. You've always been an intellectual. You've always been a smart guy.
I'm pushing up my glasses as he says that.
A creative and all that. And there is a certain mental toughness that is associated with that. And you've shown that just throughout your life. Right?
So I passed my constitution check.
You definitely have. Well, it's more like a wisdom check.
Nerd alert!
Let's not go D&D deep.
Yeah, let's not do that. So, you know, if you tell me, like, have you lived up to your dad's expectations? Maybe not. Is it that important to you? Only you can decide that.
And you know what? I think it goes back to kind of what we were saying in a previous episode about like coming out of our parents' shadows and becoming our parents. And I think I'm starting to creep out of that. There's a little bit of it that's still lingering, but strangely enough, I forget what rapper it is, but this lyric has been sticking in my mind forever. And it's like it says spaceships aren't equipped with rear view mirrors. I can't remember who it is. I want to say it was a Southern rapper, but that keeps sticking in my mind because like if you're trying to shoot for the moon, like you can't look behind you. Spaceships aren't equipped with rear view mirrors, right? And I don't know why, but that like has been sticking with me lately.
So no, that makes sense.
and those expectations are in the rear view.
Yeah. I mean, they
And
might as well be.
to talk about the kid, right? I think part of his own downfall was, first of all, his parents wouldn't give up their expectations, but he wasn't releasing those expectations, right? Him following that downward spiral, at any point he could have picked himself up, but he was like, my parents gave up on me because I didn't live up to their expectations. I'm not the person they thought I would be. And so then you kind of become a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
I mean, yeah. Like, if you think about it, he stayed in the same area for pretty much the entire time I was there, about 9 years.
Almost a decade.
Almost a decade. He stayed in the same spot, and he didn't have to.
No.
He really didn't have to.
He was cemented by those expectations. He was cemented by the situation and that expectation.
Yeah.
I bet you somewhere in the back of his mind, he never moved because he thought his parents would still come.
Yeah. No, I mean, there was like a good couple months in the beginning where he would come in every once in a while. Hey, can I make a phone call? I need to call my parents. They're going to come pick me up. Yeah, they're finally coming. And it was, oh man, heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
Shit, bro.
Yeah. And I'm like, go for it, man. Good luck. I hope your parents come and get you. Didn't happen. I do kind of, like, we've been dogging expectations, right?
Yeah.
But I do want to kind of give a counterpoint to this. Because
I kind of want to hear that. Hey, everybody. It's Joey Two Bananas here. And if you want to hear that counterpoint too, you're going to have to listen to episode 6, part 2. We just had a little too much to say and not enough time to squeeze it all out in one episode. So we're going to go ahead and break this one into 2. Hope to see you again, listening in next time. This has been Hi Podcast. I'm Dad.